We're going to please remind everybody tonight to make sure your mics are on when you speak, and if you're in the audience, make sure your phones are on silent. I'm going to call this public meeting hearing to order. I'd like to call the public meeting hearing to order Belton City Council meeting on August 10, 2021. The city invites public comments regarding property tax rates proposed to be set by the city of Belton. Seeing no one ready to speak, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. The public hearing is now closed, and I'd like to call the order of Belton City Council meeting of August 10th, 2021. Please stand, if you are able, for the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilmember Peak will lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Consent agenda, one motion, non-debatable, to approve the recommendations noted. Any member of the
Mayor
council...
Pro Tem Clark, roll
Oh,
call.
I'm sorry. Donna, can we have roll call,
Yes.
please?
Councilmember Savage,
Here.
Councilmember Powell,
Here.
Councilmember Trutzel,
Here.
Councilmember Kraft,
Here.
Councilmember Clark,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Clark, pardon me,
Councilmember's fine.
Councilmember Goff,
Here.
Councilmember Lawson,
Here.
Councilmember Peak.
Here.
Consent agenda, one motion, non-debatable, to approve the recommendations noted. Any member of the city council may ask for an item to be taken from the consent agenda for discussion and separate action.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries. The regular agenda tonight, motion approving the final reading of Bill 2021-42.
An ordinance approving the First Amendment to the Old Town Belton redevelopment plan to approve the 1100 Main Street project as redevelopment project 2021-1 and to authorize tax abatement as described therein.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Clark,
Aye.
Councilmember Savage,
Aye.
Kraft,
Aye.
Trutzel,
Aye.
Powell,
Yes.
Lawson,
Aye.
Goff,
Aye.
Peak.
Aye.
That motion passes. Item B, motion approving the final reading of Bill 2021-43.
An ordinance approving the Second Amendment to the Old Town Belton redevelopment plan to approve the 412 4th Street project as redevelopment project 2021-3 and to authorize tax abatement as described therein.
Present.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Savage,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Kraft,
Aye.
Trutzel,
Aye.
Powell,
Yes.
Peak,
Aye.
Goff,
Aye.
and Clark.
Aye. That motion passes. Item C, motion approving final reading of Bill 2021-44.
An ordinance approving the Third Amendment to the Old Town Belton redevelopment plan to approve the 402 Main Street project as redevelopment project 2021-4 and to authorize tax abatement as described therein.
Present.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Peak,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Kraft,
Aye.
Savage,
Aye.
Powell,
Aye.
Trutzel,
Aye.
Goff,
Aye.
and Mayor Pro Tem Clark.
Aye. That motion passes. Item number D, motion approving the final reading of Bill 2021-45.
An ordinance approving the Fourth Amendment to the Old Town Belton redevelopment plan to approve the 514 Mini Avenue project as redevelopment project 2021-5 and to authorize tax abatement as described therein.
Present.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Donna, you get those?
Yes.
Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Peak,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Goff,
Aye.
Savage,
Aye.
Powell,
Aye.
Trutzel,
Aye.
Kraft,
Aye.
and Clark.
Aye. That motion passes. Item E, motion approving both readings of Bill 2021-46.
An ordinance authorizing the finance director to execute documents relating to securing funds on behalf of the city through the American Rescue Plan Act being administered by the Missouri State Treasurer's Office.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this item?
Yes.
Councilmember Goff.
I have a question to you, Sheila. Is there any set amount that we can ask for or not ask for?
It will end up, can you hear me? It will end up being allocated after, based on the amount that the state receives and then the entities that apply for funds, it will get allocated. There's an estimated amount that we will receive around 4.3 or $4.4 million in 2 separate payments. But we won't know that for sure until after everyone applies, the deadline is
So-
passed.
Kind of my question is that predetermined or do we have the opportunity to shoot for the moon and get as much of it as we can get?
It will be allocated based on everyone that is applying in the state.
Is that done by population?
Do you remember?
Generally, yes.
I don't think it's done by population. I think it's done by budget because we have to let them know what our total budget amount is.
It's done by budget and CBDG grants. Those are the two things that are taken into account.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I just thought if we could, just go for everything.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get as much as we can. That's why we're asking for both readings, so we can make sure that we get that application in well before the deadline. And
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion passes.
Second.
I got a motion for second reading. A motion is second for second reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion approving the second reading of Bill 2121-46.
An ordinance authorizing the finance director to execute documents relating to securing funds on behalf of the city through the American Rescue Plan Act being administered by the Missouri State Treasurer's Office.
Present.
Second. We got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Who was the second? I'm sorry. Thank you.
Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Trutzel,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Goff,
Aye.
Savage,
Aye.
Powell,
Aye.
Peak,
Aye.
Kraft,
Aye.
and Clark.
Aye. That motion passes. Item F, motion approving the first reading of Bill number 2021-47.
An ordinance levying and fixing the rate of tax for municipal purposes for the Park Fund and for the Debt Service Fund for fiscal year 2022.
Present. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on,
Mayor.
Councilmember Goff, we'll start with you.
I have a question on that, that we're setting it another rate. I thought I was under the impression it was a half a cent or at all times. Does that vary?
Are you talking about the general fund rate?
Yes, well,
The
the,
general fund levy? The cap
The-
is,
okay.
the cap is set at 50 cents. However, based on what assessed valuation does, and the calculation that the state auditor, well, that's set out in state law, it will fluctuate and tick up or down to ensure that we're getting the same amount of revenue that we have in previous years. And so our assessed value increased. It was a reassessment year in 2021. Our assessed value increased, and the effect of that is to bring the ceiling down, which is why our rate has to go down to 0.4942.
So you're shooting for the same amount each year?
The same amount of total revenue that we collect. And that is done based on the assessed value. And so that's why the rate kind of varies.
Okay, thank you.
I got a question, Sheila. On the debt service that never goes down, we talked about that last year. How does that help us? Does it help us pay off our bonds quicker that way then?
The debt service levy is set at whatever it takes in order for us to repay the principal and interest on the general obligation debt that voters approved. And most of that debt is going to pay for street projects and stormwater projects. Additionally, we had the police station, public safety, sales tax, or not sales tax, I'm sorry, a public safety geo bond issue. Also, the outdoor water park, that was funded by a geo bond issue and other park improvements. But the majority of our general obligation debt is for stormwater and street projects.
And this was off your cycle, so typically the assessed valuation doesn't go up as much this year?
This is in a reassessment year, and so this year it did. It went up. Our real estate went up $20 million.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Motion approving the first reading of Bill 2021-48.
An ordinance approving a contract for services with Heron Contracting LLC for the Public Works Facility renovation in the not-to-exceed amount of $665,140.33, and the reappropriation and revision of the City of Belton fiscal year 2022 adopted city budget.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this item?
Well, I'm pretty clear on it, but I still want to say we've done about as far as we can do in-house, so that's what this is all about, going ahead and putting it together, getting the contractors together and finishing up various things. Actually, there's a number of items, so if you care to talk about that, go ahead, so.
So basically, he is correct. Our crews did do a fantastic job doing everything we could do, but at this point, we're to the buildings that we are going to work out of. Office out of. So since you're in those buildings, we want to make sure that it's exactly the code. And so we are hiring contractors to make sure it is done exactly right. And so we're beyond our capabilities, and this will get us down the road. This is the mechanical, which is heating, air conditioning systems. It's installing all the electrical work, all the plumbing work, hanging all the drywall, doing a lot of finish work is what's in here.
Is that electrical going back to the floors, or you going overhead or over through the walls? What are you doing there? Because I know they're cutting some concrete and various things as well.
They are, the electricity will be going through the walls and the ceiling.
Okay.
The plumbing is going through the floor.
So try that in the ceiling, it don't work well.
Yeah,
Just kidding.
I know.
Had you scared there.
I was thinking for a second.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. Item H, motion approving the first reading of Bill 2021-49.
An ordinance approving a special use permit to allow an animal services/kennel in a C2 General Commercial District located at 342 North Scott Avenue, Belton, Cass County, Missouri.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Councilwoman Peak.
Dave, I watched the planning and zoning meeting when this came before them, and I know there was a lot of discussion by the neighbor of this location, and I saw that there's a document that's signed. Can you kind of explain to the council, maybe those that didn't see it, what that's all about?
Sure. Well, the Planning Commission considered this item at a public hearing of July 19th. And as with all public hearings, notices to adjoining property owners within 185 feet were provided by the applicant. At the public hearing, the property owner to the north appeared and had some questions about the proposed use. Those questions centered around potential dog barking at the rear play area behind the building. There is a shared driveway between the two businesses and some shared parking, and there was questions about stormwater runoff. And so the Planning Commission felt like these items could be resolved fairly easily, and I think kudos to the Planning Commission. They chose not to continue this request for 30 days. They chose to have the applicant work with that property owner to the north to resolve these things and get it done before the City Council meeting tonight. And the applicant did contact that property owner. They sat down and worked through the questions. As Ms. Peak said, there is a letter in the agenda packet confirming that. So I think it's just a happy ending to the request, and the applicant's present if there's any specific questions for them.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item I, motion approving first reading of bill number 2021-50.
An ordinance approving a vacation of an existing sanitary sewer easement located east of 163rd Street and north of Bradford Place, second plat in the city of Belton, Cass County, Missouri.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion passes. Item J, motion approving the first reading of bill 2021-51.
An ordinance approving the Fifth Amendment to the Old Town Belton redevelopment plan to approve the 402 Second Street project as redevelopment project 2021-2 and to authorize tax abatement as described therein.
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion on this item?
At this time, it would be appropriate to open the public hearing.
Say it again.
There's a note on the agenda to open the public hearing regarding this.
I'm sorry. The city invites public comments pursuant to RSM 0353-110-32. All comments will be fairly and duly considered by the city and will be entered into the record.
Staff does have a brief presentation as occurred at the previous council meetings. This time, I'll be giving it since Director Yatzig is out of town or is not at the council meeting. As has been discussed previously with the council, each individual project under the Old Town Belton redevelopment plan will come before the city council as an amendment to the Old Town redevelopment plan. Before you this evening is an ordinance approving the Fifth Amendment to the Old Town Belton redevelopment plan to approve redevelopment project 2021-2 at 402 2nd Street. The ordinance can be found on page 176 of your council packet. This project consists of the construction of a detached garage, including necessary electrical work, and a new concrete driveway. This project is projected to cost $41,727.40 and therefore qualifies for level A2 incentive under the Old Town Belton redevelopment plan policy, which grants up to 10 years of tax abatement at 90% or for the cost of the improvement, whichever comes first. It is estimated that this project will receive $14,055.40 in abated taxes over 10 years. This project is within the redevelopment area, which the City Council has determined is blighted as a whole under Missouri law. The Old Town Belton Redevelopment Corporation considered this application on July 21st, 2021, and voted unanimously to recommend approval of the application. And a notice of public hearing regarding the proposed amendment was sent pursuant to state law, and a copy of the notice and the return receipts of those notices are on pages 186 and 187 of your council packet. The applicant, Kim Henry, is in attendance this evening, and that ends the staff presentation.
Is there anybody else here for public comments? Public hearing is now closed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Do we have any city council liaison reports tonight?
I've got parks.
Councilwoman Lawson, you're first.
All right, couple reminders first. Youth Fall Sports signups close on Sunday, so get your registrations in. General reminder, the farmer's market, sorry, it's a lot of feedback. The farmer's market takes place Thursdays, 4 to 7 at Memorial Park. That'll go until October. Everyone mark your calendars for the Family Fest at the Belton Fall Festival. That'll be September 11th. They've got lots of fun stuff planned. And then I'll end with Parks Director Brian Wellborn announced his resignation today. His last day will be September 3rd. We are sorry to see him go and wish him all the best.
Is that it?
That's what I got.
Thank you, Councilwoman Lawson. Ms. Powell, you got anything?
Well, there wasn't a meeting since our last council meeting, so no.
Okay. Mayor's communication, and we celebrating a birthday today in case you guys haven't noticed the festivities outside. So I want to thank the city, the Chamber of Commerce, and everybody else involved that I don't know about that. I think Hy-Vee was out there, and Belfonte donated some ice cream to us. So if I forgot anybody, I apologize. But today we're celebrating the 200th birthday of the state of Missouri. So no one's been alive that long, so we can't talk about the inception, but happy birthday to the state of Missouri. The mayor and some of our city staff is out tonight, just to let you know. They're out there representing our city tonight on economic development. So some good stuff happening in our community, and I think I read today that Chewy's fully operational now, so I think they're still looking for employees. So if you're looking for employment, please look them up. That's all I have. City manager's report.
I cannot talk in the microphone tonight. So the meeting schedule for the next 2 months is in the packet, and you guys can all read that. The one thing that I want to let you guys know that is going to be coming up, Central Square is our financial and utility billing software. They have a module that is currently helping us take our web payments and our IVR payments. It's called Transaction Manager. They are getting rid of Transaction Manager, and they gave us the option of switching to Central Square Payments. When we did an analysis of, and in order to go to Central Square Payments, we will have to break our contract that we have with Commerce Bank for merchant services. So we went out for an RFP several years ago, and we have a fantastic rate. But to use Central Square Payments, and when Transaction Manager is discontinued, it won't be an option. Central Square Payments, while they say that it will be at no cost, it will be at a much higher cost than what we are paying now. So I reached out to other software providers that are able to hook in and replace Transaction Manager, and one of those is Paymentus. And Paymentus was actually the preferred provider that Central Square wanted people to go to before they got their own software company. Well, we've been negotiating, and at the next meeting, I will be bringing a contract to you guys to hopefully approve. That it will be a little bit more expensive, but it's the best that we can do because we still have to use this software's preferred provider for merchant services. This is, the court is about ready to go to Show Me Courts. The court software did the exact same thing, so we're already going to have to end up breaking our contract with Commerce for merchant services, not for banking, but for merchant services. And I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. We have to do the conversion before December 31st, and it's going to take some time to set up, so I didn't want to bring it to you and, you guys not have heard anything. It will give better payment service to our customers. I have been very frustrated with Central Square's customer service when some of our our customers have been going to pay online on shut-off day, and for whatever reason, they continue getting a error message. The error message says that the server is down and that we are doing maintenance. Central Square hosts that payment module, and I keep contacting them and they're saying, well, it's not a problem on our side. Possibly it's that the customer has a credit card that is expired in their cash, and that I can't pay attention to the error code that the customer's getting. Like, if the error message says that it's because of maintenance, you can't tell me that it's something else. Like, have your error code let us know what is actually going on. And I think customers are frustrated. I know I am frustrated for our customers, because people are frantically wanting to pay before they are shut off, and then they're getting an error message and not able to pay online. So I do think Paymentus will be an excellent choice for our citizens. I think that they actually offer 24-hour, 7-day-a-week customer service, where the customers will actually be contacting Paymentus instead of us when there's a credit card error, which totally makes sense since it will be hosted by them. Additionally, our customers will have more options to pay. They'll be able to pay by e-check. They'll be able to get paperless billing if they so choose. They will be able to pay by text. I didn't even know you could do it. They can use PayPal, they can Venmo, all kinds of options. So I'm very excited. And then the best part is that Paymentus also works with Munis, which is the software that we are looking at transitioning to for both Intergov and Munis, or the public works and financial portion, and code enforcement, and it will be a much smoother transaction when we do that. However, we're stuck with Central Square it will probably take us 1.5 to 2 years to transition to a new software, because we'll be going through a conversion process and testing and all of that stuff. So we had to switch to something and couldn't stay with Transaction Manager. But I think Paymentus is a good deal because it will work with Munis.
My question, real quick, you ever ask these people what server, like internet provider, they're not Spectrum, but like if they're using Safari or Firefox or anything like that? Because I know at my job sometimes I can't get into some of those with like a Microsoft Bing or the Microsoft product, or I got to go to Firefox to get it more secured or something.
I have not asked our customers. I walked them like which well, yes, if it's Safari or if it's
Right.
Chrome, or if I have not asked that. I did learn how to clear a cache, but that was not the problem.
Councilman Savage, did you have a question?
I do. Is it gonna cost us to break the contract?
It will not.
And do you know the cost that we're paying now and anticipated increase?
It's not going to be a percentage basis now. It's going to be a set amount per payment. Because customers will also be allowed to use e-check, pay by e-check, that will be a lower amount. So I don't know how many people might switch from using a card to an e-check. And so they tried to get it as close as possible, but you can't do an exact amount because right now we're paying a percentage basis.
So go ahead. What's our numbers now?
We are paying about $12,000 a year for credit card fees for utility services. And I think it will go up a little bit to like 13.5.
Okay.
With Central Square payments, it was going to double.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Sheila, is that all?
Yes.
That's it? Any communications from city council members? Councilwoman Peak?
I would just like to thank the owner of 402 Second Street for taking advantage of the Old Town Belton redevelopment plan to help increase not only the value of her house, but the property.
Any other communications from council? I'll take a motion. I got a motion to adjourn and second. He was, Councilmember Trutzel was first. Is this an all aye or is this a roll call? Not a roll call. Not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Our meeting is adjourned. Norman could never do